It is 7 a.m. in New York City. I am walking along the East River with the Brooklyn Bridge in front of me, the Manhattan Bridge behind that, runners to my right, joggers getting in some early morning exercise. To my left is a river behind that, Lower Manhattan, the World Trade Center. Behind me, the Statue of Liberty and Governor's Island. And I just finished a meditation session, and the runners around me are staring. They're saying, "What is this? What is this crazy guy doing?" And oftentimes I'm wondering that myself. This is episode 57 of The Edward Show. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. And really, it is such a beautiful morning. The air is so crisp and breezy and cool and nice. And I had a theory yesterday after recording my episode on a bike. That was an amazing episode 56 of the Edward Show yesterday. That was a great episode. I recorded that episode on a bike, and I talked about my theory on why stunts go viral, what makes stunts go viral. And I tell a story of one of the biggest viral videos I had. It was such a good episode. I was so happy giving it. But I had another theory after that. And so what you're going to get from today's episode is how to be more creative, because I have a theory about how to be more creative, something that I noticed between people who are creative and people who are not creative. So this episode, you're going to get a way to become more creative. And I think creativity is great. My favorite people are the most creative people, and usually the people who I least like to spend time with are also the least creative, and some of the most successful people in history are also the most creative, though there are definitely standouts of people who are not creative and who are also very successful. But creativity is an obvious skill, and I have a theory as to what makes people creative. So this is what I noticed. I noticed that the people who are the least creative are also the people who explore the least, who take the least chances, who do the least in life, who are most likely to stay home and do nothing, who read the same things over and over again. And I wouldn't even call these habits so much as I would fears of the unknown. And the least creative people are also the people who dive deep into that fear of the the people who stay within the fear of the unknown. They stay within what they know, and they don't try to learn more beyond that. And those are the least creative people. Whereas the most creative people, from what I have seen, are the people who want to do a lot, who want to understand a lot, who read a lot, who explore a lot. These are the most creative people. And I was trying to understand what comes first. Are you creative? And because you're creative, you do all these different things? Or do you do the different things and then become creative? And what I realized is it doesn't matter. Because what I think is by saying yes to a lot of different things, by doing a lot of different things, by exploring a ton, by reading a ton, even if you think you're not a creative person, you can become a more creative person. I really believe that. Also, I think there's an obvious reason for this. And that obvious reason, so many people are looking at me. So many people are passing me as I'm recording this. It's so funny. The obvious reason for why doing a lot of different things, understanding a lot of different things, reading a lot of different things is because you get a sense for what's possible. And then by getting a sense of what's possible, you are able to incorporate more ideas into what you do. You are able to blend them together more. I've heard the argument that the people who are the most creative are the most able to blend new ideas together. And while some people surely are more creative than others, I also think it's something that can be trained. I think you can train yourself to explore a lot, understand a lot, and work on blending new things together. In the same way that people can become better at acting through improv skills or speaking through improv skills. I do improv. Before I do these podcasts. It helps me get in the zone. In the same way that you can get better at a sport, you can train yourself to become more creative. And it's such an important ability to be creative, such an important ability. I'm walking by so many people. Everyone is looking because it's 7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. and I'm holding up a microphone to my mouth, a big microphone with a big windscreen on it. People are thinking, what is this? What is the guy doing? Oh, wow, Statue of Liberty. So now at the Brooklyn Promenade. So I'm elevated pretty high up. The BQE, this highway, is now running along to my right. Views are insane from here. I want to give this analogy with cooking. When you try many different flavors and foods and ingredients, you have more of a sense for what is possible within cooking, and you are better able to know what to combine. You can't make some crazy dish without understanding the flavors that are going into it. And in order to do that, you have to experience those flavors. And I think the same thing is true within life and within business. You can't innovate in your field or do something creative within your field if you don't at first know what other people have done or what is going on. That's the same reason that I read, and this is one of the recommendations I want to give on this episode, is I don't like reading news. Just like plain news. Plain news is disappointing. Plain news plays to the negative. There's this adorable puppy in front of me. Plain news plays to the negative. It tries to suck people into these negative spirals because that's what hooks. It's these negative headlines and bad news. No, just like random news. No, absolutely not. I think that is poison. Industry news, very important. Whatever industry you're in, industry news, very important. If you're in tech, one of my favorite tech newsletters, actually my two favorite tech newsletters are Gary's Guide, which is a weekly newsletter on tech news. And I think actually this next one is weekly as well. It used to be AngelList and they changed their name to WellFound. AngelList was this platform started by Naval Ravikant, legendary guy. And a legendary thinker and entrepreneur, really. And WellFound is the rebrand of AngelList. And they have a really, really useful weekly tech newsletter. I read that every week. I read the Gary's Guide newsletter every week. I've been doing those for years. Also, podcasts. I love podcasts. I listen to the All In podcast, which is weekly, and the My First Million podcast, which is twice a week. And then the Hustle Daily Show, which is a daily podcast on tech news. Really, the Hustle Daily Show, so good, so informative. It's daily, short. And I listen to all of those because they give me, especially My First Million, because My First Million doesn't just talk about tech. It also talks about creativity and just random business accomplishments. And that gives me more of a sense of what's possible because My First Million talks about what other people have done. And when you hear about what other people have done, you start thinking what you can do. You start thinking what you're already doing and what you're good at and how you can combine them, and your mind opens up. And I love that. I love that. And the least creative people are the people who are least likely to try listening to these new things. I've seen that so many times. By the way, the houses that I'm around now, these like insane brownstones with these gorgeous gardens. I'm in Brooklyn Heights. Oh, it's so pretty here. And these are old buildings too. Old buildings. So nice. And it's quiet. And it still smells good. Wonderful morning. But yeah, you want to get a lot of different news and you want to try a lot of new things. I say yes to so many new things. And the worst case scenario is you will understand what is possible or what is harder, and you will have more of a guiding line on what you could be doing. Creativity, it's the same as cooking. It really is the same as cooking. You eat all these new foods, you understand all these new flavors, and then you're better able to combine flavors and ingredients and make more interesting dishes. I try so many different crazy foods, and it allows me to know what I like, what I don't, what might go interesting with each other. I make some weird things. A few days ago, I texted this to a friend. My friend was like, "What are you doing?" And I put cumin and olive oil in coffee. And it sounds so gross. And it wasn't actually. It was kind of nice. It was a kind of nice combination. It was an Americano. And I put in cumin and olive oil, and not a lot of cumin. And it was pretty nice. I also like putting cayenne in my coffee. And I put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in coffee as well, which deepens the flavor. The reason I even do this stuff is I was willing to try it the first time. And now I know what works and what doesn't work. And if it didn't work, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it again. But because I said, this is all right, I can do it again. Not often. The cumin olive oil thing is, I would have that maybe once every couple of months. But it was cool that it was fun to do. And I like those little experiences. The things that vary up your life a little bit, that vary up your habits a little bit. I drink coffee every day. I like to mix it up. It keeps things exciting, and I like to know it's possible. I think experimenting is so important. Understanding different aspects of the world, different aspects of your vocation, different aspects of the field that you work in is critical. It really is critical. I'm not saying you have to travel everywhere to know it's possible, but if you want to understand what is possible within what you are doing in life and work, then you should at least be getting news within your industry. You should at least be up to date and try to learn what other people have done. That's what creativity is. Creativity is having a ton of different experiences and ideas, and then being able to combine them together. How do you combine ideas together? Here's an idea. This is something that actually I do, that I find helps, is stream of consciousness journaling. Stream of consciousness journaling is, I'm actually going to do this when I get home from this walk. Stream of consciousness journaling allows your mind to open up, because as you write and write, you remove the blockers and you become more creative as a result. And then you take those experiences and all that news and you're able to blend it together. Your mind just seamlessly blends it together because it's opening up. That's what stream of consciousness journaling does. The way that I do it, I set a timer for 20 minutes and I just say, I'm going to sit at my laptop and I'm going to just write gibberish, garbage, and see what comes out. And usually after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, my mind will open up and the things that I write will be great. I have thought of some of my most viral videos by doing that. Just, you get into the zone, you have fun, you're enjoying yourself. I value stream of consciousness journaling so much because it opens up your mind, and all those experiences, all that news that you've gotten, that's when you're able to blend it together, is when you've opened your mind up. That's another reason why the people who are happier oftentimes are able to think of things that go more viral. Because when you are happier and less stressed, your mind is better able to blend together different ideas and different experiences. Whereas when you're stressed, you just want to get something done. You want to get through something. And when you're feeling good, you're able to open yourself up to different things that may be possible. I'm feeling pretty good. And that's why I'm doing today's show on this morning walk. There's so many more people out than I thought there would be. I thought it would be me alone. And when I was in the park, there weren't that many people around. There were some joggers, not very many. But now that I'm in the Heights, there's a lot of people. And I'm still doing this because it's funny. Also, it saves time. How cool is it that I can record this podcast as I walk home from meditating? I was meditating. I was doing my morning meditation. I love to do my morning meditation outside. I love to do it on the East River or on a river, at a body of water. I like bodies of water. Before New York, I was living in Warsaw. I was living in Warsaw, Poland for a couple of months. New York is my home, but I was living in Warsaw, Poland. New York is where I'm from. And every morning at 6 a.m., I would go and meditate on a lake in Warsaw in a park with these ducks in front of me. And there was nobody in this park. That was the difference. In Warsaw, in the morning, in the parks, even in the big parks, you really don't see anybody. In New York City, you see people at all times of the day and night, everywhere, especially in the lovely parks. Now, there's not as many people, but there's still people. Because if you're a morning person, there's millions of other morning people in New York who want to enjoy the quiet mornings, which I am ruining because I am recording this podcast as I walk around. But I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to do it quietly. And I love these meditation sessions. I meditate. I'm going to record another episode on meditation. I've been meditating every day since 2011, I think. A long time now. And the way that I meditate has changed over the years. Now I do like mostly outdoor meditations, especially when it's warm enough to do so. I love doing it early in the morning. I think it's such a good way to start the day. This is a nice walk. Anyway, those are my thoughts on creativity. If you work in tech, Gary's Guide is great. Well Found is great. These newsletters are great. The Hustle Daily Show, also great. My First Million, if you're doing anything in entrepreneurship, My First Million, great podcast. They give so many different case studies. That's the last thing that I wanted to say. Case studies. Try to get case studies within your field. Case studies are successful case studies, those really open your mind up to what can be done when you get successful case studies. I think half of the battle of business is just knowing what's possible, and then the other half is executing. I wouldn't say the full thing is executing. You want to have good ideas. You want to know what works and what doesn't. That comes with experience, which is trying new things, experiencing new things, so you know it's possible, but also learning from others. And that's why you read case studies, why you read newsletters, why you read books. And creativity it's really not that complicated. Experience lots of new things and find ways to open your mind up so that you can blend those things together. Journaling, having habits that make you happy. For me, that's what works. For a lot of others, I know that works as well. This is episode 57 of The Edward Show. This is my daily podcast. This is the first time I've recorded a podcast while going on a walk. Thank you so much for listening. What a beautiful morning here in New York. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Oh, and my episode from yesterday, if you haven't listened, I promise that one's special. All right, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.